Greetings! I've already realised that my camera's not working. Just give me 2 seconds. Aha! There we go. Morning everyone. There's never a day when live streams start as perfectly as needed, does it? Anyway, right, today is going to be probably very difficult in terms of the work at hand. I've got the ChiHERO motherboard. If you've been on Discord on the RMT server, then you'll have seen pictures of me with my motherboard, and it's not very happy to say the least. Right, so if you just give me 2 seconds and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Right, so this is the ChiHERO motherboard. This is, as you might predict, is just a is a Xbox motherboard. The difference being it has 128 megs of RAM. It also has the MCPX X2. That's just basically the debug version of the Xbox Southbridge chip. So it's different, but it's basically the same as the final console. I've been told as well that you can even make retail Xbox motherboards into ChiHERO motherboards by changing the flash ROM, EEPROM, and just adding 128 meg of RAM. Don't know how true that is, but that's what I have. Oh, hello Neil. Thank you for dropping by. So yes, the plan of today is to attempt to do the main power supply capacitors. I'm hoping that I can get this done in the next couple of hours, because around about we're going to only have a couple of hours anyway, because I've got to wrap up before 2 o'clock. So well, like the other couple of days, what we'll do is we'll go and see how we get on. Obviously there's this is not a simple motherboard, because this is like at least a 4 layer, maybe 6 or 8 layer motherboard. And the problem with that is that the ground planes on the inside are going to be quite they're going to act as a big heat sink. So we're going to have to use hot air, we're going to have to use a lot of heat on the soldering iron, and willful hope, or hopeful wishing even. But I have at least got the parts, and I've even got some nice Capcom tape, and this actually does stick to the motherboard, so we'll see how well we get on with that. And yeah, and the reason I've got Capcom tape is because we're going to be using hot air around the back side. As you can see, just testing out a piece there. I don't want to necessarily desolder some of these SMD components, so we'll be able to use the Capcom tape to cover that up whilst we're heating up the specific areas that we want to reflow. Yes, it's I generally like getting the chunky tapes, because when you get the chunky tape you can cut it down to what you need, whereas if you get just the like 1-inch stuff, it's annoying. As for capacitors, these are completely non-genuine, non-branded capacitors. I would have gone Panasonic, but I just wanted to get the cats in. They're not exactly special, but they are 105 rated, and yeah, that's all that matters. I mean, ultimately I just want to see if it is the capacitors, and if it is, then I'll put these in there. They might last for a few years. I might change them again in future, but at this point in time it's just mainly getting the actual machine to work, and that's ultimately the whole goal. Is obviously to get this board to work, because if I don't, I've got a nice, well, heavy metal paperweight, to put it nicely. That cost me about £45. So, yes. And like every Xbox motherboard, this has had the 1 nanofarad, 1 farad clock capacitor leak. It's also been removed. In fact, this whole motherboard has been worked on before, which terrifies me because you don't know what damage is going on. Although you probably won't be able to see this. Let's see. Okay, that's user error. My second screen doesn't have the microphone support on it at the second. Give me 2 seconds and I'll sort that. Right, there we go. You can actually hear me now. My apologies. Yeah, so you probably heard nothing of what I was saying. Then, basically, this board's already been worked with. Well, someone's had a go at repairing it, messing around with it. I don't know. But the network port, as I said, has some scrapes on it. Not like it's gonna cause the machine to not work, I don't think, but still. I don't know if you heard, but the 1 farad clock capacitor has been removed as well. But it's already leaked, you know, Xbox motherboard. Anyway, as I said before, I'm just going to put some Kapton tape over everything so we can use hot air without worrying too much about damaging SMD components. Also, I know there's going to be probably a bit of a difference between last stream and this stream for the sound of the microphone. I've decided to start using my Rode microphone because I kept having issues with the Geotech headset that I use often. So hopefully it works all right. I know it sounds a little different though. It's not got as high of a dynamic range to it, which is a shame. But it is what it is. I'm really hoping that these capacitors fix this motherboard up, because I do like the Chihiro. Chihiro and Triforce, just they are fake arcade boards, as I would like to say. They're not particularly impressive, they're just... In fact, what I'll do is I will just put it over the thing. I don't want to take up so much surface area that I don't actually heat up the board. Right, so we've got those three capacitors, sorry, those several capacitors there. Okay. There's actually, someone's already removed one of the capacitors on this board, and quite frankly did a terrible job at it. So we're going to have to sort that out as well. Hello Costado, how are you doing today? Right, okay, I think what I'm going to do is do the big capacitors first, but I'll do them in like all the same value at the same time, and then I'll move on to the next values and stuff like that. What I am going to do is I've experience with working on an Xbox motherboards. I'm going to remove these insulating pads. They actually don't go to anything on the Chihiro. This is for the Xbox. Just guessing that Microsoft made the same motherboard layout for everyone, and gave Sega a board with the pads installed. And of course I'm being very careful, I don't want to damage the traces, so I'm going in at an angle, and I'm using quite a sharp blade so it picks up on the actual thing. Right, which ones are we starting on first? I think we're starting on the 2200 microfarads. These are 6 volt, and these I think are the ones that are actually stopping the board from working. So let's get started. Costado, this is an Xbox motherboard, but it's actually the Chihiro version of the Xbox motherboard, so it's basically the same. This, if you've had a debug Xbox, this is the same motherboard, it's just got a different BIOS comparative. I don't know what word I'm trying to say. Just, it has a different BIOS. Right, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set my heat gun to 350, put on a fair amount of airflow, and I'm going to change the nozzle to be quite a wide tip. Chihero is just basically the it's just an Xbox in the arcade, but it does games such as Ghost Squad, the Ghost Squad, House of the Dead 3, and quite a few others, Outrun 2, so quite a few different games it was doing. But let's get the heat gun and just start heating these pads up. Ooh. I thought Kapton tape wasn't supposed to burn. It's the whole reason I bought it. I should really get the track listing on my to go on screen, like how Chilled Cal does it. This is just the YouTube audio library, so this is Ubiquitous by Diamond Ortez. Or was it Diamond Ortez. Sorry, is it Ubiquitous Diamond Ortez? I don't know. It's a good song though. I have a feeling that this is just melting the Capton. It's not actually protecting it. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm wondering if someone sold me a... Because it does seem to just be melting rather than... I mean, it is staying in place. It's just smoky. I think I'm going to turn my iron up to about at least 350 on this board as well. Because it's going to need all the help it can get. Solder, socket, and to be fair, it's not shriveling up nearly as bad as sellotape would. Shall we? I've got everything in the way at the minute. I know that the high side, what's that? Oh, I know that the anodes of all the capacitors are going to be the easy part, or fairly easy part, but it looks like someone's still left the leg in from that capacitor. That one actually moved quite nicely, so I'm hopeful that this is going to be a nice easy job. It's certainly coming out, which is nice. Yeah, I think because someone's removed this, what they've done is left a whole load of junk in the through hole, which is going to make my life more pain. I really do need to get a desoldering pump like the electronic ones. Yeah. So it looks like this is going to be the it's going to be fun because of all the internal layers. Because what happens is I can put the soldering iron on, it melts the solder, but as soon as I move it away, or as soon as the solder that's not touching the iron is exposed, or it just stops flowing because of all the heat sinking. I cannot talk today. It's basically all the internal layers of the board acting as a heat sink, so you just got to apply so much heat to these boards to get them to desolder. let's just try to heat up that joint again. Yeah, I want to get the Japanese pump. They do look good. That's true, Neil. It is true. To be fair though, it's I find that even with a longer piece of braid, or even, sorry, even a shorter piece of braid, it'll still steal the heat from the immediate area. I might just turn up the heat gun just a little more, just to really heat up these pads. Let's just try the... I actually have no hope of this doing anything. I will retract my former statement. That worked beautifully. As did that. There you go. We'll be using the solder pump then. Alright, so that is one pad cleared. Let's work on another one, shall we? Okay, that's that one removed. Yes, if Mark could just come round and do all this work for me, that'd be great. I'll give you the address in private DM, of course. Right, there we go. Ooh! Oh, that one's nice. Look at that. Oh, you can't because it's not focusing, can you? It's all nice and bulged. Nice and bulged cap there. Right, let's do the heat gun again. You know, I'm wondering if it's the glue that's smoking. Also wondering, will I be breathing it in? Probably not. Alright. Okay, let's do this from the top side again. Or maybe we won't, because that's not very easy to get in. No, we won't. We'll do it from the top side. I just don't want to melt the power plug. Really. Not that I couldn't replace it, I just really don't want to. Stop spewing toxic fumes out at me, please. I have enough breathing issues, I don't need you adding to them. My keys. I might need to start put a new tip on my iron. Actually, it's getting a bit more heavily corroded as of late. We'll have to, I think what we'll do then is we'll remove the caps from the top side. Sorry, we'll remove the caps from this side. We'll flip it over and then we'll heat the top side to put fresh solder on both sides, and then that should hopefully remove the clear out the joints. That sounds like a plan. Let's do that. Everyone does need a mark. It's like everyone needs a friend called Dave. It's the only reason we had a cat called Dave. Lovable cat. Bit bossy, but lovable. That's another one. Okay, they are marked. I just wanted to make sure that they actually had the anode and cathode markings on these caps, otherwise that would have been difficult to work out. Oh, actually no, it wouldn't have been. I've got a junk Xbox board that I can steal parts from. I think that's a 1.4 motherboard, not the 1.0 motherboard that this is. Actually, that's the point. The Chihiro sold with a couple of different motherboards, all the same chips and parts, but they had different revisions, like the Xbox versions. This is a 1.0, but they did a 1.0, 1.1, and I think they did like a 1.3 or 4 version of the chiHERO motherboard. I just can't remember which one that was. Come on. You're nearly there. Just remove yourself. There we go. Right. Nice. Now I'm starting to think that getting a chunky tape wasn't necessarily the best idea. I also do wonder if this is a board that came in from China. If you know of the eBay seller Yayton, whenever he would sell some of his parts and boards, they always had like these Chinese stickers everywhere. I think he's not on eBay anymore because of some dispute or something shady that he was doing, but yeah, must admit, when I was dealing with Yayton, I never had any issues. It came well packed. It was a decent price. But I did hear some stories. Not sure how true they were. Nice. Let's get some heat on there. I don't mind too much if I slightly singe the power connector. Not something I'm more worried about the SMD than I am any of the other parts. Yeah, ask Konami, Custado, because Konami basically went by the design philosophy of what CPU do we have the most of today. Oh, it turns out we've got a load of power PC chips, let's make a system over that. Or we got a load of Sony PS1 parts, let's go for that. I think around like the mid-90s, the all the arcade companies, Sega, Namco, Konami and stuff like that, they just started looking to use console motherboards and PCs because they were just cheaper at the time than making their own dedicated hardware. Because back in 80s and early 90s, console and PC hardware wasn't as good as the arcades because they were putting a lot of time and effort into developing graphics and, you know, processor power and stuff like that. But towards the end of the 90s, they couldn't innovate as much. In my opinion, you can only make graphics look so nice, and then it just stops being cost effective. So, you know, by this point in Sega's time. They were already working with Nintendo to make the Triforce, which is literally the same thing, a Japanese GameCube stuck in a box with a different BIOS. And that has no modifications, not got any more RAM or anything like that, just a plain old motherboard. And obviously they were talking with Microsoft in the early days of the Xbox to put this into their new chiHERO system, which is why it uses the MCPX2, if I remember rightly, because Sega based their hardware around that, and they didn't want to I guess, and they didn't want to mess around with any of the software stuff, so they just kept using the same chip. Or maybe it's because they didn't want people running regular Xbox games on their system, which I think, given how the system is built, is a bit silly. Let's see how this works. The Triforce runs F-Zero-AX. To be honest though, nowadays you can actually use a Nintendo Wii that's been soft modded or hard modded, whatever, to run F-Zero-AX. It's basically the same game though. It's not that much different to GX. It's just obviously it was on the arcade and had force feedback and everything, but doesn't really, when you play at home, there's not much difference. Right, well, the holes are actually clearing up quite nicely in this board, I must say. If we get a chance, I'll see if I can power this up and see what it looks like. I don't think I can use a regular Xbox video cable though, that's the only problem. Because of the BIOS on it, it only will expect to be in a certain resolution, and that's 31 kilohertz on this. And I don't have the AVIP cable, which is the special video cable that went between this board and the base board to provide the video output. I have ordered it, but I haven't got it yet. Yeah, exactly. Like, that's what my point is, Costado. You in the arcade, it would be great fun, but at home it's just like, it's nice, but you may as well just play F-Zero GX. It's far easier. The way I know from experience, and I have a YouTube video of this, you can run the chiHERO off of standard Xbox video cables, but I think it only runs in 31 kilohertz. So I'd only be able to use either the Xbox VGA cable or the component cable, and I do have the component cable, so I can use that to test. The only problem is the only component screen I've got in my house is the TV downstairs. So let's see. I need to actually test on a Chihero as well, see if you can use the standard composite cables. Because I know most of the resolution is done by just the plug itself. The ID pins will set what mode the encoder needs to be in. I just think the BIOS expects to be in a certain resolution. But I could be wrong about that. To be honest, I'll know it's working anyway because it won't be doing the flashing red and green lights on the baseboard. Yeah, I kind of don't like that song as much. I don't know why I keep it in the playlist. I need to see how much Epidemic Sound costs. Oh, look at that. All the heat. Right. I think what I'm going to do is take out the big caps, because I know where they go. And I'm going to take out all the big caps and clean up the board of any electrolyte and gunk and dust and crap before I put the new ones in. Seems like the ideal time to do it, really. And everything's going so swimmingly, so why not? Right. Ow, that's warm. Right, one big cap. Well, they came out quite nicely. I said this is going better than I thought it might. Famous last words. I will be doing the smaller capacitors as well. I don't know if you can see all that smoke coming off. Yeah, so the only Xbox that didn't have the super cap was the 1.6, and I don't think they ever made a chiHERO with the 1.6 hardware. It was always the previous ones. You can remove the super cap and it doesn't do anything for the chiHERO because it has its own separate CR2032 battery on the baseboard to hold the RC time. So I'm not going to be fitting the super cap, obviously. He soldered, you bastard. Almost. We're almost through. There we go, that's what I wanted to see. Okay, right. 2 more caps removed. Oh hell, let's just do the rest of those ones around that area. They're all... Right, so they're all 22 mics. Just yank them out with much prejudice. I probably don't need to replace these small ones, but I'm going to anyway. To be honest, the caps I'm putting in there aren't probably much better than the ones that are currently in there. It's hot. To be honest, it doesn't make a huge difference, especially if you connect your Xbox up to the network, because the Xbox has, well, will use the NTP time servers, so it doesn't make much sense to keep it in there. I think that the reason Microsoft put that in there is just so they didn't put in a battery in there, because the PS2 has a CR2032 battery in there. Right, let's see if this will work. It does. Right. What I am going to do is start writing down these values, because I will forget at this rate. Time to do drawing with the AP. Oh dear, it's not straight. Whatever shall I do? I don't need to draw all of these, but we're going to anyway. Right, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those were 2200. Those two big ones here are 3300. And you've got 1, 2, 3. Those were all 22. Yeah, we've got 1, 2, 3. Those are 1500. You got 1, 2, 3. There are some S&D caps on this that I probably should change. If I've got the parts, then I will. We're on so much of a roll. Why don't we get those other small ones out? So 22. Remove yourself from thy board. So that one was 22. It's always good to keep a good record of what you've just taken out in case something else happens. Just for at least, I know that with some arcade boards they had suicide batteries in them, and if you're not sure what, you don't know what a suicide battery is, basically it's a small, say probably barrel battery, or sometimes even RTC CR2032 battery, but it holds decryption keys for the game, and when battery runs out, you lose those decryption keys and the game doesn't work anymore. It's very much like how like actual bank A terminals work, or credit cards and stuff like that. But just a lot more evil because it's for a game. That's another 22. That's another 22. Right, let's clear up those holes. That is true, because the people that the copy protection is intended for tend to work around said copy protection anyway. There's a thing that's happened recently. So the PlayStation has, the PlayStation 1 has now a new soft, what was it? Soft mod. You can use a PS2 with Freemake Boot to install a corrupted save file for like Tony Hawk's and something else, and then you can use that software to unlock the CD drive. But it's an interesting story because usually stuff like that, like when there's an actual backdoor into a console system, it's usually left over from the days of when the console was actually being developed and the developers needed to actually get around the security systems for testing. But this soft mod makes use of a CD unlock command that doesn't exist in the original PlayStations. It was added after the PlayStation had launched. And what's even more strange is that no, we're not having this song again. Sorry, but no. I'm gonna remove that from the playlist. There we go. Okay. But yeah. So they've added the backdoor in after the retail PlayStation launched. And in Japan, that software, the command, doesn't do anything at all. It's just a weird backdoor that the Sony added for some obscure reason. Might need a bit more heat. Okay, let's just do a bit more heat. Why not? Right, so making our way quite nicely. I think I'll do these ones and I'll test the board because these are not critical for system boot, I don't think. Or maybe I'll do them all, who knows. Yeah, I think I'll do the power supply ones first because the others are Nichicon, so they probably are good quality. Right. Again, these ones I'm removing the niche ones are probably alright, but yeah, it's for the better. I would say it doesn't hurt to recap something, but my Mega Drive 2, Mega CD 2 series says otherwise. Where me doing a recap actually ended up putting some damage I didn't see on there. And then the CD drive wouldn't read. No worries. Thank you for joining us, Casado, and you too. Have a good weekend. test those big ones out. Let's do a smaller one. These ones might be more tricky because they've got electrolyte acid over them, because someone put clock caps in these that leak. If they don't come out, I might just leave them in place. Obviously it would be better to get them out, but try to clear off just some of that mechanic glue, just so I can get the holder underneath it. Oof. Yeah, it's probably just as well that we are changing those. Those ones are going to require a tiny bit of heat. This one should be 220 then. just realised you can't actually see what I'm doing. Whoops. Hey, there we go. Right. Just fell out. Hold on. No, that's not the price. That would help. 32. So those magnets. That's all the caps except for the SMD. I could replace the SMD cap, but it's not leaking. Oh, and there's that one up there. That's good. Then that'll be all the ones on the power supply side. Do I have a SMD 10 mic 6 16 volts? I might do. I'm going to go check that quickly. See if I do. The answer is I do. You think back to the Mega CD, Laser Active recaps. Yeah, still got a couple. So let's get my lasers out. I even have those. I don't seem to have them around me. That's annoying. I'm going to use a soldering iron, I think, on these ones though. Just I'd really rather avoid putting hot air around the SMD parts, especially the MCPX2, because that's BGA, and there's only one way to fix a BGA part. Well, one proper way to fix a BGA part. So I don't want to mess with that if I can avoid it. Okay, one SMD cap. Just clean up that excess solder. Right. Power supply caps removed. I'll probably, like I say, leave those in place for now. But what I'm going to go do is I'm going to go quickly clean off the board with some IPA, isopropyl alcohol. And when I come back, hopefully this lower half will be a lot cleaner. Anyway, I'll go do that now. it's not perfectly dry. That is looking a hell of a lot cleaner now, isn't it? Like, you can actually see it's green. Right, where is the... Obviously, I'm going to let this fully dry before I test it. I'll probably have to do that overnight. Especially because there's BGA parts on here, and as I've said, I don't want to mess up those parts. Yeah, you can actually see the color, green color of the PCB now. There's a few bits of where like there's dirt and grime and stuff like that, but overall it's not got electrolyte everywhere. Yeah, as Custado was saying before, this had a clock cap, and that was down here, outside down there. Actually, it does look like it almost is eating through those parts, but just clean up those areas around. Yeah, you can see as well, like wherever the capacitor juice has been, it's starting to cause like this white fuzz, but it's cleaned off. It's just needs to be sorted. Right. Anyway, let's start soldering some capacitors in. Why not? That's the whole point of this video, isn't it? Now we'll start with a 3000s, sorry. No particular reason, but other than I can. Or do I? No, you know what? Let's not. Let's do the smaller values first. For that, I'll need my big box of capacitors. So we'll start with the 22s and we'll do 100s and then we'll go up from there. So I didn't mark what that one is, but I believe it was a... No, I'm not entirely certain of that one. It looks like as well, where the capacitor of the clock has leaked, the silk screens come off, so I don't actually have any markings on there anymore. So instead what I think I will do is, well, just having a look, it looks like the big power plane is the positive, and then the negative is the other side. So I'll just put the capacitors in that way around. should check all of these values are 22s. I mean, my capacitor organisation is pretty good, but maybe it's not perfect. I believe that one was a 22. I'm just going to stick a 22 in there. Always make sure you write down your stuff before. Right. I believe that's all the 22s. Oh, no, maybe not. There was one more. I'm going to stop saying I believe, because every time I say that I find another place for a capacitor to go. Right. I'm getting a lot of this white stuff over the board, so I'm hoping it's just residue that I can clear it off. It looks like as well the might need a bit of heat for installing new capacitors on. So it looks like the square pads are the anodes and the round pads are the cathodes. That's very handy to know. Makes life a bit easier when all the silk screen has gone off the board. Yeah, I'm going to need to put some heat on these to hold them in place. Because I'm struggling to put new solder onto the pads because of that heat sinking issue. Put some of the hundreds back in now. What were they anyway? 100 by 25. Assortment of 100 nanofarad, 100 microfarads, but they'll work. So I mainly just want to see this board working again. There's only like 400 microfarads anyway. Now with those in place, I'm going to put the 1500s in. Also, it occurred to me that you're supposed to actually cut them off the bands because you can leave gunk on the inside of the through holes. That's what I'll be doing here. Now these are physically a bit different. They are a lot slimmer, but I'm going to just put it in anyway because I believe they'll be fine. I mean, they are rated the same rating, same capacitance, all that, so it should be fine. Right, well, those ones partly into place. Now I'm going to take the no, I'm going to just do the 2200s. Whoop. Oh, it looks nice to put new components into boards. Right, so what I'm doing, just in case you're not sure, is I'm actually going through and I'm only soldering one leg of each capacitor, just so I can hold it in place. Then what I'm going to do is go around with a heat gun in the certain parts of the motherboard to heat it up, and then I can do the other side of it, because that's the ground plane side. And once I've done that, I will trim the leads and I'll go clean off all the flux, because flux can be conductive and it can actually cause problems if you're not careful. And I'm soldering the what appears to be the negative side, because it seems to be what's grabbing hold of the capacitor, although not the case in the 3300s. Right. Right, there we go. So that is all the capacitors on this front half of the board, and the board is just looking so much cleaner now. It's actually kind of surprising. Right, let's get all these legs soldered on. I didn't seem to heat it up long enough. Well, maybe I did. one's done. Right, so that's all of the electrolytics on the power supply side. I've not obviously done this side of the board. I don't think I need to really. When you're cutting off the legs, do them one at a time, just so you're not putting too much strain on the motherboard. Or the joints even. What I like to do sometimes with components is just go through and just touch up the solder after you've trimmed the leads, just so they're not as sharp. You don't have to do this, it's completely optional. But I find that it just doesn't make the joints quite as sharp, so also any stress that was in the solder usually will come out when you reflow it. So I think it's just a better idea to do it in general. and soft. Let's get that capacitor to that SMD one that we took off back in. Now, I really wish I had my little pliers, the ones I was using for the SMD work before, but I can't find them at the minute. One SMD cap replaced. Right. What I'm gonna do, actually, so I was saying before that the damage around the network port, that was actually for the LED, but I'm looking at it now. No, that's actually for one of the that's for one of the pairs, the twisted pairs. So that network port isn't actually going to work. You can't have that. But I also want to pick up that other guy, and thankfully I've got a nice load of traces right here that I'm going to use. So I'm going to scrape away some of the solder mask using this knife. And then what I'll do is I'll get one of the thicker leads on this one. I can even pick it up. I'm going to bend it into shape. So I'll use this end and I'll just put a little kink in it like that. So it's just about big enough to cover the area that I need. Like so. Now I will put some copper, some solder onto the copper parts of the motherboard. Like that, and just tin that lead. Being careful not to hold the iron on for too long because it is metal and it will heat up. And then I'll just tap it down over the top. Sure, it will look a bit more ugly, but at least it's connected. And then I'm just going to use a knife to just gently cut through, and then I'll just tap the soldering on. The reason I'm tapping it like this, stabbing it, is that it doesn't give the metal link long enough to desolder on both sides. And now we get to the other one, the linked pair. I'm also just going to... It looks like someone put LEDs in this motherboard. But what they've done as well is completely messed around with the so I'm just going to clean up these points so that they're not awful looking. Did these chiHERO motherboards ever come with LEDs in their network ports? I don't think they did they? Right, with all that crap cleared out, I'm just gonna fill it up with solder, just so it looks a bit more factory than it did. Rather than having two gaping holes. There we go. Network port is now looking a little better. Now this pair, what I'm going to do is do something different. I'm going to do the same thing to start with, which is to clear the solder mask off the traces, being careful not to clear it off the hair riding right beside the damaged trace. Because I don't want to bridge these two together. Then I'm going to tin the damaged wire. Again, being very careful to bridge, to not bridge the two. And then comes the replacement trace. Right, now what I'm going to do is take a singular strand of this ribbon cable, making sure to not entirely cut it, and I'm going to pull the wire out. Now I'm going to separate all but one of the wires, and then that I'm going to tin. So this singular strand of wire, which is about the size of a hair, I'm going to tin it, and then I'm going to cut it off like so. Now, it's very fine to see, and this is where I'm going to have to take the board and do what I need to do right up close, because I can't otherwise see it. It's so fine I can't even use pair of pliers to hold it. shit. Okay, so that didn't quite work. It did work, but I just messed around with it too long. If you mess around with it too long, especially when it's in such a short state, it will just unsolder again. So I'm just going to do the same thing, just to tin a new piece of wire, solder it onto the trace. Let's just right. You probably will never be able to see this. No, you probably won't, because it won't focus, will it? Let's just try to... Oh. Oh, we've lost our camera. The illusion has been broken. What happened? Okay, let's just try. Okay, I think I've messed it up far too much. Ah, there we go, we're back. Right. Let's see if we can get you to see that. Okay, so you can just about, you can see the thick trace I've had to put in there. Look, can you see the absolute fine trace I've had to solder in place? Oh, I do like the fact I can see with young eyes. But that is the motherboard mostly done. Looks like I still need to clean up some areas around, because it's like we've got some like crud happening on the chip, so I'm not sure what's going on with that. I'll just probably go around and clean it up. I think, like I say, I'll leave everything that I've done for now, because it is all soldered up, it's all looking good. I'll have to let it sit for a little while so that the water that I use to clean it off with isn't underneath the chips. And but yeah, after that we can then test it to see what's going on. It does look like someone's replaced that network port, doesn't it? Alright, I'll go quickly clean off this flux, and then and then we'll see how it looks afterwards. Right, so like I say, it's mostly clean now. But I can't test this yet, I'll have to wait for it to fully dry off, unfortunately. Well, there you go. I've not done the entire board. And again, I never remember promising I'd do the entire board. I may come back to do the top caps at a later date, but I'll probably only do that if I can actually tell the board actually works. Oh, I just want to plug it in right now and test it, but patience. I'll go hang this up and let it dry, and then we'll see whether it works or not. Hopefully it does, because yeah. What I'll probably do is, if you join me on the RMC Discord, I'll probably do a little stream there, just testing the board, see if it works. I might even try to see if I can get the net booting on the Type 3 working. I just love how clean it looks. Maybe you don't remember how clean it looked before, but let me just get the media board, something else to show you. Oh, I'm tethered. So this is the rest of the chiHERO in all its glory. This is a board I recently had to go through and sort out. That LED had no business being as hard as it was to change, shall we say. But it's a lot cleaner than it was. This is the state of the media board. The media board, which is actually stuck on something. I'm not exactly sure what it's stuck on. There we go. This is the media board, and you can just see how filthy it looks, like how smoke residue it looks. And also I need to put in a CR2032 in there, but that can come later. So yeah, that's what we started with. Looks like there's a 0.1 microfarad super cap, and that looks very unhappy. So I may just take that off and replace that. This whole thing needs a good clean, a real good clean. And the whole rest of the case, you see, just filthy. So that's what we started with. So now we're putting in this nice and clean motherboard. Well, it just doesn't look quite right. I'll just put this bracket back on for the CPU and GPU coolers, which was, again, unbelievably hard to get off, but it is going back on. And then, where did I put those? Where did I put those lugs for them? Let me go have a look for those parts, shall I? Right, found the lugs. These are incredibly hard to push in. I won't put the heat sinks on yet. Again, I want to let the board dry off before then. I'm going to use the non-sharp end of this to just push the pins back in. I'm not exaggerating, they are really this difficult to push in. Trust me, the only thing that was more difficult than pushing these in was pushing them out. They did not want to come out at all. Ooh, let's not break the thing now, shall we? Right, those pins are now installed. They're now installed, the board is clean, the soldering iron is still on and still set to a really high temperature. Really, that's about it. And it's starting to get close to the time we should call it a stream anyway. Like I say, I'll let this dry off. And then if you want to see me test this board out, join me on the RMC Discord, and I will probably do a live stream a little later on, probably 3-4 o'clock, something like that, where I test this all out, hopefully. So I'm going to go hang this up over a warm area, and then we'll continue on from there. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed all watching. I know it's getting a bit repetitive with me doing just recaps for live streams, but as I've said in previous live streams, it's a lazy way of making a video. So I will be doing videos, obviously. You might see something about the Chihiro in April. You might see a video sooner or later about the Mac Classic 2 in March. The Laserdisc, laser active, it's 95% done. It just there's some things I need to sort out. But yeah, hope you have enjoyed me soldering again, replacing capacitors, and I may do some more live stream stuff on the Chihiro. We'll see. Anyway, that'll be it for me for now, and I shall leave you all be.